How you going, guys? Dean from Blog for the Blood God here, and YouTube has been kind enough to point out to me that 0.001% of my audience identify as female online. So I've decided to get rid of the old how you going, guys, and bring in a new, more appropriate for 2021, gender-neutral introduction to my videos. So here we go. G'day, cunts! Welcome to this episode of the BloodyOath podcast. On today's episode, we're going to discuss gender and how it interacts with the Warhammer 40k community. Is the Warhammer 40k community sexist, and is it hospitable and welcoming to the LGBTQ and trans community? I have no doubt that this is going to spark some arguments and debates down in the comments below, and that's perfectly okay. Just make sure you keep them respectable as best as you can and have good faith arguments. Don't attack people and don't try and undermine other people in the comments. With that being said, let's get into the video and talk about whether or not Warhammer 40k and the Warhammer 40k community are sexist.
Blog for the Blood God presents the BloodyOath podcast.
G'day, cunts! On today's episode of the BloodyOath podcast, we're going to be discussing, is Warhammer 40k and the Warhammer 40k community sexist? Now, I'm going to include in here whether or not it's like hospitable to the LGBTQ community, the trans community, all of those sorts of things. Not saying that those things and women are synonymous, just saying that there's a lot of the things that upset one of those groups upsets all of those groups. So, does the Warhammer 40k community commit these infringements, and is it guilty of being sexist or unhospitable to these groups? Now, I think the answer to that is sort of. I don't think it's a simple yes or no. Like all things, it's nuanced and it's details that need to be ironed out, and it's not fair to sum it up as a simple yes or a no. Because the thing about the Warhammer community is it is a collection of a series of communities. It's not just one big community. That's like saying that Americans are racist. You can't say that because sure, some of them are, but some of them also do amazing work for, you know, the minorities. So I think it's really important to note that you simply cannot summarize the entire conversation with a Warhammer 40k is sexist or Warhammer 40k is not sexist at all. I don't think either of those stances are fair. So from my personal experience, I think that it's sort of like any group that is predominantly one type of people will be that way for a reason, right? So for example, warehouses are generally full of blokes, you know, daycare centers are generally full of women, and this is not to say that men can't get a job working in daycare and that women can't get a job working in a warehouse. All I'm saying by saying that is that certain things, certain areas, certain groups, certain occupations, certain whatever, attract a certain type of person. And then what you end up having is a consolidation of that. So for example, a warehouse more men might be attracted to working in a warehouse as opposed to working in an office. You know, it might be because it's physical, it might be because, you know, it's somewhat outdoorsy, you know, who knows, right? But for some reason, these things have been predominantly attracting men. And then what happens is, because it attracts men, a lot of men work there, and then the fact that a lot of men work there attracts more men. And the same goes with women in a lot of the, you know, various groups that are predominantly women. So, and that's all because humans by nature enjoy hanging out with people that are similar to them. Not the same. People do like to hang out with people who are, you know, different, but that typically they like to spend time with people that they have something in common with, something fundamental in common with, so that they know that they can relate to that person will understand them, that person will, you know, on a fundamental level have an appreciation for that other person's lived experience. So that's one of the main reasons that humans tend to group around people similar to them. And the thing with Warhammer 40k is, I'm not 100% sure on the specifics of how this works, but it tends to, in my experience, be more appealing to nerdy men. So the men who would not feel comfortable in a gym, or would not feel comfortable, at a babysitter's club style thing, or whatever, the nerdier sort of blokes tend to gravitate towards Warhammer. And because of that, then a bunch of them get together, it starts to build a critical mass where now those nerdy men are attracted to Warhammer, not only because of the fundamentals of Warhammer, but also because it's full of other nerdy men. And they feel like this is a safe place where they can be nerdy men. So that's not to say that nerdy women, or even non-nerdy men, or non-nerdy women, or whatever, they're all obviously still welcome, but that community will be defined by the people in it, who are predominantly those nerdy men. And I actually think that this is perfectly okay. A lot of people think that shows signs of like systemic sexism because of the, it's structured by, built by these nerdy men. But I would argue that it's no different than a gym that's full of like, footy jocks, football players. I wouldn't feel comfortable working out in a gym, but I'm not going to go into the gym and tell them that they need to change, or like, a sports bar, where you go in and they got the footy up on the big TVs and there's all these people yelling and drinking. I'm not going to go in there and say, excuse me, but can you please put fucking Warhammer Plus up on the TV? Like, no, it's not my space, it's their space. And they've tailored their space to suit their interests. And that's perfectly okay. I don't have to feel welcome in that space. I don't have to feel comfortable in that space. As a fucking adult, I have the ability to find a space that I do feel comfortable and make myself at home. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to bring up this video, because there seems to be a lot of push online to change the Warhammer community to be more comfortable for these sort of fringe groups, I guess. And I would argue that while I would 100% welcome them if they would like to join it, if they like Warhammer the way it is and would like to join it and be a part of it, then by all means. But don't come in and ask to change it. That's where my concern comes, is when people start pushing for change. And often it's these vocal minorities that are trying to change things. It'd be no different than if there was like a young mothers club, and I wanted to join it even though I'm a single, I'm a white man with no kids. Like what the fuck, what business do I have going in there? That being said, if I wanted to go in there because, I don't know, maybe I wanted to get a deeper understanding of the challenges that young mothers face, or maybe I was, planning on having kids myself, so I wanted to, experience that so I could understand what my wife would go through before we go through it. There's tons of reasons why I might want to join a young mothers group, but I'm not going to go in there and start, doing all the various things that I do with my mates when we're out drinking. Like your behavior should model to your environment, not the other way around. You should go, okay, where am I? I'm here. How do people who are here act? I should act that way. Not I'm here and I'm going to act the way I want to act and you need to accommodate me. I don't think that's an appropriate or mature way to engage in civil discourse. And now, obviously, I'm not trying to say that fucking all women are out there trying to change Warhammer. And I'm not trying to say that the LGBTQ trans community is out there trying to change it either. I'm just trying to address some of the criticisms of my beloved community that I see online, where people are saying that Warhammer is sexist and that Warhammer, is inhospitable to trans people, and all of these sorts of general comments. I'm just trying to address those and just say, look, it might not be, you might not be comfortable as a woman playing Warhammer at a tournament. You might not be, but that's okay. You don't have to be, you know? If you're not comfortable and you don't like it, then don't do it. No one's making you do it. And if you really like Warhammer, but I mean, I guess here's where the challenge comes in, right? And I do have a what I think is a fair solution for this. Let's say you're a woman or a trans woman or a whatever, right? And you really enjoy Warhammer, right? Maybe you were a biological man who really enjoyed Warhammer, but then realized that you were actually a trans woman, and you're in the process of transitioning, but you still love Warhammer from back in the day, and now you feel uncomfortable, right? Because of the changes that are happening in your life, you now don't feel like you fit in, you now feel uncomfortable, right? Or you're a woman who's, you know, played it since your brothers used to play it when you were a kid, they got you into it, or you got into it autonomously, whatever. If you feel uncomfortable in that scenario, instead of changing it, maybe run your own tournament, and when you run your tournament, say this is a tournament that is a safe place for women and trans people, you know? And you would be fucking shocked at how much support you would get for that. And you'd probably find that there's way more people just like you out there. And you'd be able to build your own community and then have your own sort of thing going on. And maybe that pushes the needle more in that direction, you know, but I'm hesitant to accept people that want to come into a community and then change it. You know, that'd be like me going, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go move to Sudan, and then I get over there and be like, well, hang on, what the fuck? Where's the Maccas? Like, fuck you guys. Like, where's the fucking, all the creature comforts that I'm used to? I'm gonna change your place, you know? Like, no, that's not right. You should find somewhere that is comfortable to you and then settle down there. Not find somewhere that's uncomfortable, but comfortable for other people, and then change it. And I think this fundamentally, the challenge here is that, let's just say, like, I'm a man and I'm really comfortable around my Warhammer mates at tournaments. I'm really comfortable in that space. Everybody laughs at my jokes. You know, everybody gets my humor, everybody, you know, gets my mannerisms, everybody understands my temperament, you know, I can really let go and be myself in that area. I'm comfortable. Now, if somebody else enters that place, is it right for them to make me less comfortable in order for them to be comfortable? Or should they perhaps find somewhere that they are comfortable and then just assimilate without making anybody else around them uncomfortable? You know, I know this can be a challenging thing because obviously, like, Warhammer is predominantly male dominated, so it's not as easy for like women or trans women who want a community that they can feel comfortable in. And this is why the important thing here is that I think it's perfectly reasonable for them to expect us to make reasonable steps towards making them comfortable. So just reasonable things that you could expect out of any social situation. Think of it like a workplace, you know. If you wouldn't say it or do it at work, then maybe don't say it or do it at a Warhammer tournament, you know, because it does need to be not gender neutral, but it needs to be inviting for all genders. But I'm just suggesting that those are sort of reasonable steps, but I don't think we should be taking extreme steps, you know, just small baby steps in the right direction, I think is perfectly fine. But yeah, ultimately, find somewhere that you're comfortable and fit in, and if you're not comfortable, then move on and find somewhere else. So yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on sexism in Warhammer 40k. Mainly focused around the tournament community because that's the main area that I operate within. The other thing is online. Obviously, you've got, you know, various groups and stuff, but it's really easy to if you think a fucking Facebook group is full of sexist, misogynist assholes, leave the group. Go join a different group. You know, there's a fucking infinite number of groups on Facebook. You can create your own and then put the call out that this is a fucking feminist 40k group. That's fine. You can do that. Like, not everything has to align. I think that's really important, is that conflict is important, and it's important that there are spaces where some people are comfortable but others are not. You know, some people like the room warm, some people like it cold. It's important to have a warm and a cold room so that everybody has somewhere where they can be comfortable. You don't want to have just one room that has a neutral temperature where nobody is comfortable. You know, that's the beauty of the world that we live in, is that everybody can have a place where they are comfortable. And if you don't have one, then you can just create a space where you are comfortable. So yeah, that's ultimately my opinion. I am open to criticisms of that opinion, and if anybody has any comments that they want to share, maybe you're a woman who's in the 40k community who has some experiences that they want to share, or you know, you're a bloke in the 40k community that's been accused of sexism or anything like that. You know, let's get a conversation going, but let's keep it civil. Let's not attack each other in the comments below. Let's keep it fair, keep it civil, but also don't be afraid to express your opinion in full below, because I really want to create a safe space here where anybody can share their opinions. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in, and if you like this conversation and you want to hear more, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I've recently found out that on YouTube, if you subscribe to someone's channel, all that tells YouTube is that you like content that is similar to that, and it'll generate content in your algorithm similar. Whereas if you want to see more of my content specifically, you have to hit the notification bell, and that way it makes sure that my videos directly go into your feed. So make sure you hit that notification bell, and make sure you throw some comments in below, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Alright, see ya.
Do your objective markers ever get lost behind terrain or other models and become difficult to see? Do they ever get bumped and accidentally moved during a game? And do they ever spark arguments about distances? Well, not anymore. Introducing the blog for the blood god, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers. Made from the same material as astronaut suits, or maybe military equipment, or probably neither of those things, this 2mm thick neoprene synthetic rubber is tear resistant, water resistant, and is designed to last. But that's not all. The blog for the blood god, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers come in a variety of different designs and styles to suit any faction represented in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These objective markers are a perfect gift for yourself or a friend, and are a perfect way to flex and show your opponent that not only are you a smarter, cooler, and better 40k player than them, but you also have more disposable income than they do. For the low price of $25, you'll get not one, not two, but 6 neoprene objective markers, perfectly designed for 9th edition Warhammer 40k. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, people who sign up on Patreon to support Blog for the Blood God as a Skull Champion tier $5 per month member will gain access to a custom design service where I will design a unique logo to support their gaming club, like the one I did to the left here for the Potato Farmers local gaming club here in Melbourne. Follow the links in the description of this video to pick up your set today.